Hi and welcome back to my greenhouse. I thought I'd give you a bit of an update from the last video, which was about a month ago, just to show you basically what's going on in the greenhouse and how things are progressing. So as you can see from the wide shot here, the Sarracenias along this bench are pretty much all in full flower now. I think in the last video there were a few that had some flower spikes starting to grow, or they were quite low. Now pretty much every single one of them is now in full bloom, with their really pretty flowers. There's still a few that haven't as yet opened up, like these two or this one here, but most, like I say, are now coming into flower, and I personally think these flowers are absolutely gorgeous. They're really quite unique. A bit of a wander around. So most of the ones up this end are just old Sarracenias I've got, unknown crosses just that I've had for years. Some are really nice, some are very much sort of Catesbii type crosses. Others are much taller, so they've probably got a bit of Flava, Leucophila heritage, a bit more of that in them. I think one of these ones at this end of the greenhouse produced the about a 3-foot long pitcher last year, which was the tallest I'd got, so that was really quite spectacular. So if we come down this end a bit more, we're starting to see some of the other ones. This is again one of my old ones, but it's quite a deep red colour, so that's we've got a fair bit of Leucophila in that one, because that tends to have quite a nice dark red flower. We've got a few here that are, a few of the yellow ones here are Flava crosses. So that one in the foreground here is Flava rubicorpora crossed with Alata redlid. And as you can see there, not just the flowers are coming out, but also the actual new pitcher growth is coming out, and that is going to be quite spectacular because it's a lovely cross on that one. A bit behind that one, with this nice yellow flower, that is just my Flava, I think Broadwalk subspecies. So Flava's a really nice yellow flower on that one. A bit towards in here, with this really beautiful trap starting to show up. Must be about a foot or more tall now, with some really nice coloration. That is, oh, I can't see the label now. That is my Leucophila red tube crossed with Flava atropurpurea. That's got quite a bit more of a darker coloured flower, so it's probably got a bit more Leucophila in there than the Flava from the yellow flower. But as you can see there, the pictures on that one are absolutely stunning. Come a bit later in the summer, the whole tube really colours down to a really dark red colour, and it has that beautiful sort of twist at the top of the lid. At the front here we've got my Popey, which I remember rightly is a Flava rubicross. This is really nice. It's got a really nice, almost an orangey coloured flower. It may not come across quite so well on the camera, but that really is quite a nice orange compared to the sort of the pinks and reds. Not much trap growth on that one. I think we've got one bit coming here, but that's got a really nice trap as well. Almost has a bronze sort of hood to it, which is really nice. So we come across here, we've got a nice little red one there. That is just a Gisatit soper. So that's a really nice one. We've got a few more to the back here. These are all Juthatic Sopa in this tray. I actually did a bit of splitting of Juthatic Sopa. I had a few that were just pot bound and split the pot apart. In fact, you can see back there how much that one is sort of trying to break out the pot. I need to another go at splitting a few more of these. So I managed to also get rid of a few of those splits, which was quite nice. We got my Orophilia here, starting to put some nice growth on. Nice green traps coming up there. She has a flower, but so far her flower hasn't actually opened. The flowers behind that, the nice yellow ones. This one's here, quite big, very beautiful. Hope that's a nice shot of that one. That is my Kimber Red Ruffles, which is a flower of Atropurpurea. And as you can see here, her traps are starting to open up nicely. The hood is not quite unfurled on this one yet, but it will be fairly soon. And the colouring on this one, as you can see from the throat there, and the colouring developing on the tube is really, really nice. That's probably a bit over a foot tall, that one. Further back there, some of the yellowy green. Get around there. Some of the yellowy green flowers. That is one of my Catespii flower crosses. I probably won't be able to get the camera in to see the actual colouring of that tube, the actual picture there. That is a really nice one. Might just be able to see the hooded trap in there. It's very nice. We've got a few alatas back there. They're quite a sort of a whiter yellow flower, not quite as deep yellow as the flowers tend to be, but still very nice. That flower, I just moved out of the way there. That is one of my flowers off Mori, my big Mori. That's a really beautiful flower. This one is, that one's one of her smaller ones. This one here is just huge. I mean, she really does put up some really quite beautiful and what you might describe as quite flouncy flowers. They are big and very pretty. There you go. That's a Mori that was split last year. Again, we've got a few more alatas back there. Not much growth on those. I mean, they're starting to put some growth on. It's not a massive amount. I'd say Mori is starting to put some nice stuff on here. She's quite a tall one. Leucophila is nestling in there. Got a bit of growth coming on Leucophila. Not massive at the moment, but she has got several flowers up. And again, they are a beautiful deep red colour. There's another flower back there on the yellow one, and the little red flowers back there. There's another camera will focus on those. They are rubri. So that's pretty much what they're doing at the moment. I've had a few problems with a few of the actual plants. My Flavolata red lid, she actually got a little bit frosted, so that flower spike there at the top, just as it comes over, has all gone limp and shriveled. And another one here had the same problem. And in actual fact, if I can work it, there it is. This actual Flava Alata red lid, two of the actual pictures, the young growth got frosted and they've all gone black and a bit shriveled. A bit unusual because these are pretty hardy plants. We have had a few quite hard frosts here in the UK. after some really quite warm spring days. So whether it was just caught at the wrong time, a bit of tender growth. A couple of my older plants suffered the same fate on a few of their pictures, but most of the others have been absolutely fine, and even actual later growth on these, which has been caught by some other later frosts just as severe, has seemed to survive fine. So perhaps it was just a bit unfortunate, just a bit of a nice warm day followed by quite a harsh frost, and just a little bit too tender growth at that point. So if we come round, a few more. We've got a few more Orophelias there that I split, doing quite nicely, and there's a Flavolata red lid that I've got in the foreground there, so they're doing quite nice. Here's my tray of now 4 Stavensi. It was 1 Stavensi up to that point. Stavensi, if you remember, is a Leuco rubra cross, so it shares the beautiful red flower of Leucophila and rubra. This is a really nice one. It is quite Leucophila-like in terms of its lid colouring, but also has the quite nice veining of rubra. This was absolutely pushing its way out of the pot, so I had to do something with this one. As a result, a few of the flowers have wilted a little bit. Even if you're really careful when you're splitting these things and putting them up, you will lose a few roots. And obviously having all the flowers up puts a little bit of stress on the plant, and so it's going to possibly wilt a few of the flowers in preference to actually the plant having a problem. So I might lose a few of those flowers, but I've now got 4 a little bit better potted up plants that are going to be a few years before they need to be thought about again, and I can probably now think about perhaps getting rid of a few of those nice ones there. If we move over to my tray of young Sarracenias I've been pricking out and growing on and potting up, these are doing really nicely now. I think the last time there was really quite small growth, maybe a few of the traps were sort of an inch or so tall, and now we're getting ones coming up 6 or more inches. This is a really nice one from the colouring. Focus on that. So it's quite got that one in focus yet, but that's got some really nice veining. That is one I bought a pot of seedlings from, and that one is Flava var Cuprea crossed with Flava rubri. I think that should be a really nice colour on that one. I look forward to seeing that one. It's a bit bigger. Got some other nice ones coming here, so some really good growth coming here. Here's a nice little Catesbii cross. I think that one is a Catesbii crossed with Max, Flava Max crossed with Catesbii. So it's got that classic Catesbii look to it. And there's another one of it, but it's also got quite a nice bit of veining on the hood there. But again, like I say, they are doing really well. They started to really grow strongly, and that's even a tiny bit of a rhizome from the Gisatit Sopa splits I was doing that I've stuck in a pot. I think that bit was actually buried under the compost. It was growing down into the actual soil rather than up. It was so pot bound, but that actually should in itself start to grow, and that'll produce another plant. So these things are pretty easy to actually take cuttings of and get going. Move across. Here's my tray of Cobra Lily, Darlingtonia, Californica. I think from the last video they had just started to show some flower spikes, but now, as you can see, they are in full flower, and they are again really quite beautiful flowers, these ones. I've been doing a bit of pollination, cross-pollination on these ones. Well, say cross-pollination, actually this is all the same plant, just vegetatively propagated over the years. So hopefully I should get some seed from this, but that is really nice. some point, probably after it's finished flowering, I will try and split these. I've got 3 here, one which I split last year or sometime, which is putting some nice new growth on. The other 2 are a little bit pot bound and they're shooting out lots of runners that hopefully I can get into other pots. There's a bit of comparison here. The one at the front here is potted up in pure life sphagnum moss, and the one back there, in fact the other little one, that's a peat compost mix. I'd have to say that both seem to be doing pretty well. The sphagnum one is a bit bigger, but that is the parent of the other 2. So actually, in terms of what compost mix to put your Darlingtonia into, sphagnum moss or a peat compost. I can't remember the exact combination I've got in there, but it'll be peat and probably perlite and a few other things. Both seem to do work pretty well actually. Here's some more Sarracenias, actually little seedlings. So see some of the seedlings I grew for my own crosses. These were sown back in the end of December. They were left out in the greenhouse. They've been frosted over winter, and they're now starting to just show. So we've got a couple of little seed leaves come out there, and you're just starting to see the first little trap come off those. Bit variable on how many we've got here. That pot at the front has only got, I think, a couple in it. That on the middle has got quite a few more. That's only got a couple. Both these were planted at the same time. That's got absolutely none at all, but I think that was some older seed. That's got a few. Nothing as yet in that one. And slightly disappointingly, nothing as yet on my Cobra Lily pot. Now I treated that one exactly the same way as the Sarracenias, so again that was sown actually the end of January, so a little bit later, just in the pot, in the greenhouse, so it's been allowed to get cold and frosty over the winter, so hopefully that will start to produce something. And as you can see here, my multitude of Venus flytraps are doing pretty well, and pretty much all of them now are throwing up flower spikes and also putting on some nice new growth now, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Here's my little tray of some other seedlings. So these are the ones that I've been potting up into the other tray. So there's some of these are now starting to again shoot up some really nice growth there, so I might be able to pot some of these more up. And here are a few of my little Sarracenia purpureas with all their new luscious green growth on them. Now some of this growth is actually now starting to even vein and colour up nicely, so it started out really sort of bright fresh green, and you see another one that is actually this year's growth, but now it's, as we're starting to get a bit stronger sun, a bit more light, and they start to develop a bit, it's starting to really colour up nicely. So again, these are doing really, really well. And again, there's some of my old ones, and that again is one of the older ones that, if it will focus on it, that suffered a bit from the frost. A couple of trays of Sundews, so these are just Drosera capensis. I had these actually overwintered in the garage and brought them out every now and again when it wasn't frosty. So I've tried to keep these actually frost free, which has actually improved their sort of growth this year quite considerably. They've actually started up growing with fresh stuff pretty quickly, whereas when I've kept these in the greenhouse over winter and they've been frosted, they die back. It takes them a lot longer to actually get going, so some of these are doing really, really nicely. Here's my tray of mostly Madagascariensis, again Drosera. These are now starting to shoot out really nicely. They all looked all but dead towards the end of last year. All their tall growth, which can get up to about 9 inches to a foot tall, had died back. A lot of it had sort of even gone mouldy and started to rot. So I cut most of it down. As you can see that one at the back there, cut most of it down. And like I say, they all looked all but dead. But now, as you can see, they are starting to shoot out new growth from the base. And some of them have started to do really well. And they've really started to make some good progress there. That's that one. Yeah, there you go. That I think I said in the last video, these things can be, you know, really quite aggressive in what they catch. They actually catch some really quite large insects, and it's there. It's got one there. It's snared on things. I would have better fully grab that one in. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Towards the end of this tray, we've got a few of my Banata tea forms. Some of the actual new growth isn't just tea growth. It's actually almost, some of that stuff at the front there is almost like a multiform growth. In fact, there's one over there which has actually got three divisions. So it's a tea form, and then one of its teas has split. This is normally Banata tea form. It was growing from some seed from the seed bank. Whether in its history it has a bit of a multiform cross in there, or whether actually this is normal behaviour for Banata to sometimes produce multiple splits on its branches. I don't know, but hey, it's still very nice. And back there we've got a little pot of self-sets that I've pricked out from some of the other plants pots. And there's even some self-sets, I can't quite tell if the camera can see that, some self-sets in the actual main plant pots there. So they're doing really well. Yeah, another tray of some of my Sarracenia seedlings mostly. Some more on the back there are some of my own crosses from probably last year or the year before. I've potted a few of those up, and that's what was in the other tray I showed you earlier. There's a few more here to go. There's a nice Juthatic Soper. I think I probably snapped that off actually one of the Juthatic Sopers when I was splitting it, and so I just buried it in the pot, and it's starting to grow nicely. And some of those other ones. Again, another tray of mostly Droseras. This tray is mostly Drosera alba, which is pretty much just the white form of the standard capensis. And just to show you actually relatively how easily things are to grow, that pot there was grown from flower spike cuttings. So you might just be able to see the old brown flower spikes in there. So what I did with that was last year when it was actually flowering, I waited for the flowers to set, took the seed and then chopped off the flower spike when it was still green, chopped it to about inch-long lengths, got a small container with a lid, put some rainwater in it, floated the actual cuttings on the surface, closed the lid and just left it. You get quite a few that rot off, but then the ones that don't, they sprout little plantlets from the ends, and then you can take them out there, lay them on the surface, the compost, and they will start to root and off they go. So that is actually a relatively quick way of propagating them compared to seed. And finally, another tray of Droseras capensis, all dewed up nicely, looking really beautiful in the sun. Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick tour around of what is now happening as the spring progresses, the new growth, the beautiful flowers, especially on the Sarracenias at the moment, and we shall see how the year progresses with some of the other growth as well. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments in below about things you like or dislike, or things you'd like to see, a bit more detail, and I will try and do it for you. Thanks for watching.